Hey guys, Justin here with AmericanMuscle.com, and today we're taking a closer look at and installing the MagnaFlow Competition Series catback exhaust, complete with the polished quad tips available for your 5.7 powered 2015 and 2016 Challenger at home. Now you guys should be checking out the MagnaFlow for your ride if you want a high quality system to deliver an aggressive yet deep tone to your Hemi powered ride at home, along with delivering a different look in the rear thanks to the quad round tips. So diving right into the sound you can expect with the Competition Series in place, and as you guys heard with our sound clips, the Competition is definitely going to deliver in both the tone and volume department. Strong revs, deep tone, and just an overall killer sound, but without being over the top. So breaking out my Wake the Neighbor scale, I'm gonna go solid 4 out of 5 here. Certainly is a louder system, but it's not loud enough where your neighbors are gonna be calling the cops on you. Now the combination of the straight through Competition Series muffler here, working with the included X-pipe, as you guys can see right there, really does lead to a more aggressive tone when compared to MagnaFlow's other system, the Street system. But at the same time, the interior noise with the comp in place is still relatively quiet, with only a small hint of drone creeping in at highway speeds. But let's move into build quality and construction, and MagnaFlow, in my humble opinion, is one of the best to do it. Now, even though they primarily use a 409 grade stainless steel material for all of their systems, the quality of the build and fitment is up there with the best of them, and ultimately they still back their material with a lifetime warranty. So any concerns about using a 409 in place of a 304 should be put to rest there. Now, the entire system has been made here in the USA, does feature that full stainless build like we just talked about. You're gonna be looking at 2.5-inch mandrel bent tubing for a majority of this system, leading into and out of your straight through perforated tube mufflers. That's what really helps shape the sound here with the Competition system. And then of course you do have the X-pipe leading into those mufflers as well. And one of the biggies here with this particular kit, guys, will be the 4 3.5-inch polished double-walled tips, which to me just looks so much better than the factory rectangles on the Challenger. Just really dig the look once installed. Now, the system does not alter your factory cats in any way there, but it does include all of the factory style hangers in the factory locations. Of course, your clamps needed for what I would call a relatively painless install. Price point for the MagnaFlow is not exactly on the cheap side here, guys. In fact, you're looking at just south of 2,000 bucks. However, the old saying goes, you get what you pay for, and between the quality of the system, the quality of the sound, and that corresponding lifetime warranty, this system is priced where it should be, in my opinion. And at the same time, it is still going to be slightly more affordable when compared to other systems in the category, other heavy hitters such as the Borla systems or even the Corsa, which tends to round out the absolute upper end of the price point. Shifting gears, let's get into the install, and the site is going to call this one a solid 2 out of 3 wrenches on the difficulty meter, taking you a couple of hours or so to knock out from start to finish. But to give you a better idea of just how this one will go down in the garage or driveway at home, let's throw it out to the guys in the shop right now for our detailed walkthrough and tool breakdown.
For this install, you will need an impact, a ratchet, an extension, a 13mm swivel socket, 13 and 15mm sockets, exhaust hanger removal tool, and some lubricant. Also not shown here is a pole jack or jack and jack stands. What's up, guys? Today we're going to be doing exhaust on our Challenger, so let's get started. So we're going to start things off by grabbing some lubricant and spraying down our middle hangers here, as well as our AccuSeal clamps up at our H-pipe. This is just going to help things come off a little bit smoother, especially if your factory system has been on for a while. And we also live in the Northeast, which tends to get salty and rusty, so lubricant never hurts. So we'll go ahead and spray these down real quick. We'll get our clamps over here. So now we've got pole jacks underneath the rear of our system here. That's going to give us some extra support. And what we're going to do is come to our muffler section, and we're going to remove the isolator and hanger all as one assembly. So there's two 13mm bolts up here under our chassis. Kind of hard to see, but they're pretty much straight up above from your mufflers. So we'll grab our 13mm socket and extension on our impact and go ahead and get those off. Now we can go ahead and do the same thing for our other muffler. Next, we can go ahead and come back to these hangers that we sprayed down with our lubricant previously and grab our hanger removal tool. Go ahead and pop these hangers out of their isolators. Go ahead and pop that out. Then we can go ahead and do the same thing for our other hanger. So now that we have everything else undone, we can come to our mid pipe here and undo those clamps with our 15mm socket on our impact. Then we're going to move our pole jacks out of the way while we have an extra set of hands to support the rear of the exhaust, and we can pull this down in one assembly. So now that we have our old system off, we can go ahead and begin installing our new one. So we're first going to grab our two link pipes here that are going to go to our factory setup. So we're going to grab our provided 2.5-inch clamps, slide those over our slip joints here, and the shorter one is going to go on the driver's side, just like so. And our longer one with our other clamp is going to go on our passenger side. And one thing you want to make sure of when installing these is these have these little slits for our clamps. To seal properly, you want to make sure these are seated at least past those, if not all the way fully to the end of your expansion. Go ahead and make sure these are seated. Then we're just going to go ahead and snug these down for now. We're not going to fully tighten them in case we need to make any adjustments along the way for the rest of our setup. So we'll grab our 15mm socket on our impact and just go ahead and snug these down enough so where they don't move. Now you want your clamps to go pretty much flush with the end of your expansion as well to give the best seal possible. So we'll go ahead and get these in place. Make sure you have enough clearance so where you're not going to hit the body of your car, also not hang down too much. Try to make sure this doesn't slide. Just enough to where it don't move. Do the same thing for this one. Now we're going to go ahead on with our X-pipe section. So first we're going to grab two more of our provided clamps, slide those over our link pipes here. It's just good to have those in place so you don't forget them, then get everything on, then you got to take it back off. We're going to go ahead and set our X-pipe onto our pole jacks here. And go ahead and slip this over onto our mid pipe. Get those pretty seated. Then we can adjust our pole jacks. Now we've gone ahead and added a little bit of lubricant to our hanger and our isolator. That's just going to make things go a little bit easier for our install here. So get that side in, and we'll do the same thing for this side. Now once those are seated, we can go back to our clamp section, make sure those are fully seated, and we'll just snug those down just like we did our mid pipes. So now we've made sure these are seated properly, so we're going to grab our 15 mil socket on our impact again and snug down our next two clamps. Again, you want to make sure your clamp isn't hitting any of your heat shields or anything on the body. It's going to cause noise or vibrations. So now we need to come back over to our factory system and remove the isolator and hangers off of our factory setup to transfer them over to our new one. So we'll grab our hanger removal tool and get these popped off, swap them over to our new setup. So now that we have our hangers off, we've gone ahead and lubricated our new hanger rods on our setup. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing for our isolators. This is just going to make for a much easier install. Go ahead and lube these up. Then we can go ahead, pop these on. Then we'll do the same thing for the other side. So now we can go ahead and get our rear sections in place. So again, we'll grab our provided clamp, slide that over our slip joints here. Make sure it's facing away from our differential as this is pretty close. We can go ahead, slip this into place. Now we can go ahead and grab our factory 13 millimeter bolt for our isolator on our chassis side and go ahead and bolt that back in. Get that into here. I'm going to push this up into place. Get that started. Now we can go ahead and tighten this down with a 13 millimeter swivel socket on our ratchet. Next, we can go ahead and install our tip section. So again, we'll grab one of our supplied clamps over the slip joint as before. We can go ahead, slide this into place. Then we can grab another one of our 13 millimeter factory bolts and remount our factory hanger isolator up in its original mounting spot. So now this is going to mount right up where it came out of the factory spot. So we'll go ahead and get our bolts started, our tab in our locator, and we can go ahead and tighten that down. So now we can again use our 13 mil swivel socket and extension to get this tightened down. Now once you have this done, you can go ahead and repeat the same process on the other side, and then we'll begin finalizing our tightening down of our system. So now that we have everything installed, we've gone ahead and set our tips where we want them to sit. They're pretty level and about a middle ground in the adjustment range. You do have room to push them farther out or farther in depending on your personal preference. That'll be up to you. So we have those set so we can start tightening down all of our clamps, make sure everything stays in line and there are no clearance issues. So we'll grab our 15 mil socket on our impact and begin tightening everything down. Make sure our tips stay in line. Now we'll just keep working our way back to our cats and make sure everything is tightened. Alrighty guys, that about wraps up our review and install of our MagnaFlow Competition Series catback exhaust with polished quad round tips for your 15 to 16 5.7 liter Hemi Challenger. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Challenger, keep it right here at AmericanMuscle.com.